Welcome back to SportsVibe. I'm Arnav Sarkar here with Jitesh Ramakrishnan. We just went through the NFL Week 16 recap, um, like we always do. So busy week in football as the playoff picture starts to, shape itself together. 2 weeks left of the season. Christmas Day is always a big day, for sometimes for football. We had the nice triple header yesterday, so a lot of action, some good matchups. But it's a day for NBA basketball. It's really the first real big NBA basketball day of the season for a lot of fans. Typically first few months of season, I'm not really all too into basketball. I do watch here and there, like opening day is big. I try to watch my Nets and some other games when I can. But I mean, five marquee matchups in the NBA. Luka Doncic had a 50 piece last night. In between football, I was trying to watch some of the games. We the Knicks be knocking off the Bucks, Nuggets taking down the Warriors. That was a good one. Then of course Celtics Lakers. It doesn't get better than that.
the
Christmas
the
Day, and
best
then
match.
yeah, yeah, that's historic rivalry. And then over to Miami for Sixers Heat, a good matchup. And then of course Mavericks Suns. I just mentioned Luka Doncic going for 50, but I don't know. I wasn't really watching too much of this, to be honest, because I was kind of watching football. But I mean, and we could talk about it game by game if you want, or if you just have some like big takeaways, or like up to you, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, once again, um, I guess we could start with Mavs Suns. Once again, Luka Doncic apparently is still the king of nightmares in Phoenix.
Yeah.
Um, I
His
mean,
stat line was like ridiculous from that game. It was like 4 blocks, 3 steals, 50 points, eight threes. I'm probably
yeah,
missing some 15 plus assists. Like it
yeah,
was like absolutely like
remarkable performance, remarkable. And
absolutely
I
nuts.
said this before. I said this before when the Suns traded like literally everything for Bradley Beal. I said this was a terrible decision, and it's not because Bradley Beal's had an extensive injury history before. I said this because once you trade away literally everything for your third stars, for like your second and third co-stars, and you get rid of that depth, like that's what's going to kill you because you're relying on high-end talent to consistently bail you out. Like we've seen this before with the Nets. Like you have seen this before firsthand
Mm.
when the Nets had that massive trade for James Harden. I mean, see, it wasn't a problem when you signed Katie and Kyrie in free agency. That was not the problem. The problem was when you traded away like $5 billion and like 15 first round picks for James Harden. Like
Right.
because that screws with your draft capital, that screws with your bench, that screws with your salary cap, and that screws with the team if you don't win a championship. And that's what happened. Like, I mean, aside from like, the Nets dissolving into injuries during their round against Milwaukee. Otherwise, we'd be talking about them potentially being in the NBA Finals in 2021. Potentially. But you saw like right afterwards, like what killed the Nets was not having anything to like, provide backup or whatever. Like
Mm-mm.
so and and that team had Kevin Durant on it. So we're seeing the same exact story repeat with the Suns, except this is not even a playoff meltdown just yet, if the Suns can even make it there. Because right now they're sitting on the outside looking in for the eight seed. Right now, like the Suns are straddling, well, technically they're sub 500 at the moment, but they are not able to have a cohesive basketball team without Bradley Beal because this team is made for Bradley Beal being in the middle. But of course, Bradley Beal is injured and is hasn't been able to like really play at all. And there are brewing reports of Kevin Durant's frustration with this. But of course, the Suns can't do anything with this because the Suns are completely pushed up against the cap. They have no trade capital because they traded away literally every damn thing for Bradley Beal. And they have
Mm.
no enticing pieces to offer as trade bait for other teams. So really, the Suns are stuck in a three-way hellhole, and it's their own damn fault.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's like they're basically doing what the Nets did again, and
No,
it's kind of
no,
funny that Kevin Durant was kind of like, like this team isn't really working out, and then everyone's just like making like laughing about it. But I
no, that,
mean, I don't know,
no.
same
Remember
thing.
when I told you like this is exactly what I told you was gonna happen. Like because and that's what we've
Hmm.
seen the story repeat with Kevin Durant before. It has nothing to do with Kevin Durant in this instance. He and Devin Booker are doing all they can to at least like get the Suns team somewhere. But the problem is they ain't going anywhere. I told you that
Right.
like when James Harden was dumped away, even though it was for like Ben Simmons, who does literally nothing. Like it was still like, at least you were able to get some trade you were able to get some draft capital back in that trade somehow. But like and of course that doesn't really fix anything because the Nets are also like in their own I wouldn't exactly describe them as stuck in the middle because the Nets still have promise, but they don't have like championship caliber promise. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Whereas the
agree.
Phoenix Suns, they
They
have
do.
championship caliber promise, except at the way they're playing right now, it looks like they might not even be in the playoffs. And this should be
Hmm.
really concerning for the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah.
Like incredibly concerning. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what adjustments they have to make because they're in a position where they can basically make zero adjustments. So the Suns might be screwed. Or, no, you know what? I'm just gonna say it. The Suns are screwed. They're screwed because
Yeah.
Bradley Beal can't stay healthy. Kevin Durant and Devin Booker can't bail this team out forever, especially when they have literally nothing at bench, and you're already below in the rankings for just the eighth seed in the West, and you have a
Hmm.
long way to climb up from that, and we're already a little more than a quarter of the way into the season. The Suns are screwed. I'm
Yeah.
gonna say it right now.
Yeah. It's
I mean, of
just,
course, will I be eating my words later? It's possible, but as of right now, the Suns are screwed.
yeah. Screwed is, yeah. Certainly not on the right track. I mean, they could be a play-in team, but I mean, for a team with, that's trying to, I guess,
For
you
listen,
know,
for a team with Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, two top
yeah.
10 players, or at least one, or at least
Hmm.
one
And
arguably
then
the
Beal
best
on
player in the
top.
league,
Yeah.
and Devin Booker, who you can argue is a top 10 player in the league.
Right.
Um, if you're a playing team, you've already lost.
Yeah. And there's a long way to go. It's early in the season, but they really have to figure it out. I mean, the Clippers have kind of when they've kind of figured out their super team situation to an extent. Like if
I mean,
they're on a two
it
game losing streak now, but they
it
won
I mean
like
it took
10
a
in a row
little bit
before that.
it
So,
took a little bit of initial losing, and believe me, I was super happy because
Hmm.
Harden kept losing, and I love nothing more than seeing Harden lose. But the Clippers have seemed to figure things out right now, and I mean, of course, as you mentioned, they're on a two-game losing streak right now, but it doesn't really matter at this point in time because the Clippers have shown that they can be good. And like, they were
Right.
able to bounce back things. They had that insane win streak
Right.
like, leading up to a few weeks ago. So
Yeah.
if I was a Clippers fan, I wouldn't really panic at this moment.
Yeah.
If I was a Suns fan, I'd definitely start panicking.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds about right. And then yeah, we already discussed the Mavs. I mean, um, yeah, I mean 50 piece. That was a masterful performance by Luka Doncic. And then on the other side, I mean, Grayson Allen was the leading scorer for the Suns. He had 32, which I thought was interesting on the team where you got Booker put 20, Durant 16. I mean,
Now, Durant looked awful
Messi Manu
yesterday.
had 23, and Grayson Allen, who was part of that trade. I think he came from the Bucks. Wait, how did that happen? I don't even remember. But anyway, yeah, he led the team with 32. Was that part of the Giannis deal or something like, or the Dame deal? I think. Not the
I
Giannis deal.
I think so. I mean,
I think
honestly,
so. Some shifting of players somewhere.
yeah.
But anyway, in any case, yeah, I mean, he was really good in college, Grayson Allen, like the Duke villain. But I mean, in the NBA, he's kind of more like a 3 point. He's like a 3 and D guy, and but I mean, certainly a good role player. And yeah, I mean, maybe the Suns need some more of that. I don't know. But anyway, for other games to get to, we got. I guess if we want to work our way backwards, we got Heat and 76ers.
Yeah. Jimmy
Yeah,
Butler didn't even play and the Heat still apparently own the Sixers.
yeah. Well, neither did yeah, Joel Embiid. So I think it was just a rest game, which that's kind of unfortunate because it's national television, it's Christmas, but the whole load management thing. I don't think anyone was really injured, but in any case, I mean, it's a basketball game. I mean, Hawkins Jr., draft pick, from UCLA, he had 31.
Bam Adebayo with
Bam
26,
Adebayo 26, and
Tyler Zero, Tyler Zero
22,
with 22.
and then Duncan Robinson 16, Kyle Lowry 12. So a lot of like whoever's left from that finals team, showed up. I mean, this is like it's a pretty good squad, I would say. All things considered. I mean, then you had Caleb Martin who had one. But
Uh,
the rest of the
Ty
team, Kevin Love
Tyrese
at 8. So I mean,
Tyrese
it's
Maxey
definitely a good core. I like the how the Heat are set up,
Ty
especially with Jimmy
Tyrese
Butler.
Tyrese Maxey had a dud. Like he had a pretty terrible
Yeah.
game.
Mm-hmm. Tobias Harris, 27. Kelly Oubre, came from the Warriors, 25. And then, yeah, Maxey with 12. D'Anthony Melton, 15. Mo Bamba, 18. That's interesting.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Everyone knows the song Mo Bamba, but, the
yeah.
player is certainly pretty good. But
Listen,
anyway,
it's a problem when you get outscored by Mo Bamba, like on your own team. That's a problem.
yeah, I'm just like, yeah, yeah, I'm just like, yeah, kind of resisting the urge to like sing Mo on the on the
Don't sing.
show.
Save
Okay.
these people. Do these people a favor and don't sing.
Yeah. Anyway, I mean, I will say though, like without James Harden, like Tyrese Maxey, like he's kind of become like the guy on the Sixers, like
As he
that
should.
everyone th knew he would be, and I'm glad because I mean, Harden was taking away his touches and not really doing like a ton with like, inconsistently with that, and then Maxey's like a great player in his own right. I mean, you know, yeah, I mean, so I'm happy for that. The East is kind of like more what you'd expect, and the West is kind of like maybe a little bit not what you expect in terms of like who's leading the standings. But I mean, Boston, Milwaukee, Philadelphia, certainly that top three teams right now, and then you got the Magic in there, and the Heat, the Knicks. Those are probably like your serious like, uh, contenders. So mainly the first three, and then seven
I mean,
is
I
the
was
Cavs are
not
right
expecting
behind there.
I was not
Pacers,
expecting the
Nets,
Magic
Bulls.
to
Yeah,
be
the
doing good of all
Magic is
teams.
kind of like the odd team out. I guess Paulo Banchero has been playing pretty well. Overall, they kind of had a little bit of losing skin, then they bounced back against the Pacers. But yeah, I mean, they're definitely ahead of schedule on their rebuild. They were not expected to be very good. And then, I guess going down the standings, you got Cleveland, Pacers, Nets, the Bulls. Nets are like a definition of a 500 team. It's like very irritating, but they literally beat who they should beat and lose to who they should lose to. And I know that's like should not be a surprise, but I've never seen a team do it so literally. Um, but anyway, and then outside of the tournament, um, the Hawks, Raptors, the bottom of the East and West really are just so bad this year. Like the
Well,
Hornets are 7-20, the
well,
Wizards are 5-23, the Pistons are 2-27 on a
here's what I see.
26 game losing streak. They play the Nets tonight again, so
I
probably
mean, here's what I
contributes.
think. I think like, haven't you realized that like when watching Detroit sports teams that pretty much only one of them can be good at a time?
And
Like,
a
I don't
time.
know if you've realized that, but
Well, they
like
saved the Lions.
no,
Man, this
no,
is
no.
just like ugly
No,
though. It's
that's
so
it.
bad.
The Pistons' failure this season has come with the success of the Lions. And
Hmm.
of course, magically today, your Nets are supposed to be playing the Pistons.
Yeah,
So will the Pistons break the streak
hope not.
of losing? Who
It's the
knows?
second game between the two teams, and the Nets just beat the Pistons in Brooklyn on the 23rd, and then they go to Detroit for it's a little home and home, but good should be a good chance for the Nets to get back to 500, which they've been kind of hovering around, like I said. But yeah, it's just so bad. I mean, the warm-up video of the Pistons just missing all their shots. I don't know if you saw it. Even like the guy who missed the layup. I mean, I was just like no wonder they're 2-25. I mean, like they're literally missing their warm-up shots, like like all of them. Like, and it's comically bad. I really don't know what's going
Uh,
on. I don't
Listen,
know how a team could
listen,
be that bad.
I
But
honestly
anyway,
don't believe the Pistons are this pathetic it because statistically you have a better chance of being struck by lightning than losing like 26 games in a row. Like,
it
I mean,
seems like it should be
no,
like
listen,
impossible. But
the last time we've seen a team lose 26 games in a row was the Sixers a few years ago. And if you want to go back really far, the 1976 expansion Bucks, they started
mm,
off 0-14, and then their
oof,
second season they started off 0-12 before getting a win against the Mike Ditka Saints, if I remember correctly.
wow, interesting. Yeah, no, it's
Then
been.
again, it's probably a lot harder to. It's almost a lot harder to lose 26 football games in a row than it is to lose 26 basketball games in a row.
Hmm.
I mean, we saw with the Browns a few seasons ago,
Yeah,
few seasons ago. They nearly went
0-16.
0-32,
Right.
nearly. If it
Almost. Yeah,
weren't
of
for one lucky miss kick by the Chargers field goal kicker.
course. Of course, Chargers. But yeah, no, I get your point. It's misery. Yeah. Anyway, I guess to continue going on through the NBA slate, we got Celtics Lakers, probably the game of the day for basketball fans. It's always exciting when these two teams battle with all the history and the rivalry, all the trophies. And yeah, I mean, I was watching bits and pieces of this. Celtics look good. I mean, like I can't really say anything
No,
else.
like
They look good.
their rotation is really balanced. Like you could see in top five, and you could see in their starting five, like no one necessarily needs to be like that 50-point scorer or whatever. Like
Yeah,
they're
very
fairly
balanced starting five for
no
sure.
fairly balanced. Like Porzingis at 28, Tatum with 25,
Hmm.
Jalen with 19,
Yeah,
Drew and Derek White each with 18 apiece.
18. Yeah.
Like that's really damn good right there. Like that depth right there. They've got that balance right. They've got everything. Whereas like you see the Lakers, like they almost need to rely on one guy to carry the load. And Anthony Davis certainly did his
Mhm.
best
Yeah,
with getting 40 points.
right.
But like you saw like compared to everyone else, like Anthony Davis like has like double more than the highest score on the team, which I believe
Mm.
was LeBron yesterday. No,
Mm.
Taurean Prince
Taurean
with
Prince came from the
yeah.
Nets, I think, or he used to be in the Nets, but 17, LeBron at 16. Yeah, and then Hachimura at 12, Austin Reeves 11, and then yeah, it's pretty
Listen,
much all the
listen.
double-digit scorers.
I had a great week for Christmas. I mean, the Pats won, the Chiefs lost, the Celtics won, the Lakers lost. I
Hmm.
couldn't really ask for anything more, honestly.
It's fair. It's fair. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. For me, I guess the Giants did better, and the Chiefs lost, and I don't really know honestly, but yeah, it was fun. I mean, that's good for you that like all that kind of worked out that way. Um, yeah. The Cowboys lost. I guess that was kind of nice, but I guess they're probably not going anywhere because they have to go on the road in the playoffs, and the Niners. Hopefully, the Niners just will get the 1 seed so they could just take care of the Eagles and Cowboys, and my problem will be solved. But
Hey,
in any case,
a Niners Lions NFC Championship game.
ooh, now we're
N-
talking. Now we're
Or
talking.
we gotta have one underdog in there.
Yeah,
Let's
give
go,
us the Lions, and the Niners.
or even Buccaneers 49ers. That would be
Mm.
kind of interesting.
Yeah. Or we could have like
But
Lions. It's probably going to be like Lions, Eagles, and then Cowboys, 49ers in the divisional, and then probably I would guess Niners, Eagles, but it could be Niners, Lions the way things are going right now. I don't know. It's hard, but I mean,
wait,
it should be good playoffs
yeah,
for
let's
sure.
go
But
back to basketball for a second,
yeah,
because
all right. Nuggets, Warriors. So that was an exciting one between the defending champs and I guess the
yeah,
champs before that. So yeah,
I saw this thing floating around on Twitter that apparently Steph Curry pretty much has a dud every time he plays on Christmas. Like
it's interesting. He had 18. Yeah, he was not that effective. He had a few threes, but I mean
yeah,
that
I mean
yeah, kind of
even
cooled
Jokic
down.
struggled, but I think he was perfect from the charity stripe, still put in 26. So
Yeah, no, yeah, Jokic had 18 free throw attempts, which like a lot of people like I think even Steve Kerr was like complaining about that, or he was just like it's not even the way that he's getting fouled, it's just the officiating of it. It's like making it too easy for players to go to the line. But Jokic converted, so yeah, I mean they're the defending champs for a reason. They look good. I mean they have, Jokic with 26, Jamal Murray, so they got that duo, Jamal Murray 28, and then KCP 16, Gordon 16, Porter 19. And then of course I like the new addition. I was watching them against the Nets. I mean I do like Kristen Braun and they have Strother and Reggie Jackson. But I mean really it's like having Jokic and Murray and then Porter as a third option. And then of course Aaron Gordon. I mean, yeah, it's just a good core of guys. And Contavious Caldwell-Pope also great addition. Nuggets look good. I mean, and we just did this for the East, but I mean, looking at the Western Conference, like it's a lot less of what you'd expect. But other than the Nuggets, it's like the Timberwolves who have been playing like lights out. Super impressive. I mean, the whole thing with Gobert and Towns, I think that was a really smart idea to have like a traditional center and then like a center who could stretch the
Uh,
floor.
I still don't really agree with it because, traditional centers today are pretty much a dead position, just like the fullbacks in the NFL. But
Right. But yeah, that's why you have like the
apparently it's
mix there.
working.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, then again, the 49ers still employ Kyle Juszczyk, and he's
Right.
still a pretty good fullback. But
And
yeah,
then yeah, and then Anthony Edwards who had 34 this was a few days ago against the Kings. But yeah, so in the West, just to run through it real quick, T-Wolves, Nuggets, Thunder, who also way ahead of schedule on their rebuild. They still have a lot of draft picks to get to. Sacramento, who's was a great story last year. The Mavericks, who we just talked about, could definitely be a tough team, especially when Kyrie comes back as well. The Clippers, who seem to be getting things together. They have so Clippers have Harden, Westbrook. Who else do they have? Kawhi, of course, and Paul George. I mean, if everyone gets going, and we maybe don't even include Westbrook in this, I mean, that could be an interesting team for sure. I mean, Harden, Kawhi Leonard, and Paul George. I mean, that's yeah. I mean, they're certainly on the right track. And then so that's the top six, and then we kind of have like the Pelicans, the Rockets. I guess kind of has schedule. Lakers, Warriors are probably. I would hope they'd they'd get themselves out of that playing group. And then the Suns. Not really sure what's going on there. And then, I mean, we talked about that already. And then Utah, who's was supposed to be pretty bad. The Grizzlies, starting to come into form now that Ja Morant's back. But maybe they make a run to play in. And then
might
Portland
be too little, too
Trailblazers,
late.
Spurs with Wembanyama. Again, like the bottom teams are just like so bad. Like you have
What do
7-21,
you expect? What
four and
do you expect the bottom
24.
teams to be 500?
Well, I don't know. It just feels weird to like see like 2-27, 5-23, 7-20,
And
four and 24, seven
is it
twenty
really?
one,
Because come on, we have teams in the NFL right now. It's week 16. Like my
three
Patriots are
and
4 and
11, 4
12.
and 12. But that's still like different. This is like basketball. Like and they have as many they have as many wins with like a lot more losses. And basketball's supposed to be a lot more, luck like I don't want to say lucky, but it's like, anyone can get on every day, on any day. Anyone can miss shots. Like these are professional teams. Like, I mean, you can't tell me like the Pistons, like, it's just like hard to believe. Like, it almost seems like, and I know this isn't true, but it just seems like a college team could beat
Like
them,
no matter, no,
which obviously wouldn't happen. But
absolutely.
like
Listen,
they just
even though
can't
the
beat
Pistons are
anybody in the
even
NBA,
though the Pistons are the worst team in the league right now, guarantee you they'd wipe the floor at the best college
I'm
basketball
sure
team
they
right now.
would, but like it's just a fun argument. They just look so bad. It's just like I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but then yeah, it's an interesting year for basketball. But I mean, maybe I don't even know. The East looks pretty like what you'd expect. I'm excited. Just it'll be interesting to see, Celtics, Bucks. I hope that's the Eastern Conference Finals because I think that'd be a really good one. And whoever the Sixers, whoever else is in that semis, and then the West, we'll have to see what happens with these. I feel like the Wolves are probably here to stay. The
I'd
Thunder
like
might be overachieving a
I'd
little
love to
bit.
see Sacramento make a run of the Western Conference Finals.
Sacramento, Denver, then the super teams here, the Clippers, whatever happens with the Lakers and Warriors, Phoenix, I don't know about them. Mavericks, of course, this could be a good year for Dallas, with the way Luka's playing. Kyrie, they seem to have figured out whatever was going on last year. So yeah, I mean, I guess while we're on the topic, I mean, you know, we got Bucks Knicks, which is the first game of the day out at 12.
This was
You
a
know,
very good game.
yeah, I was watching part of the next act, they played well. I mean, Jalen Brunson, 38 points. Pretty remarkable performance. And then I mean the Knicks have kind of found some mojo. I mean, and then Julius Randle, 24, RJ Barrett, 21, Isaiah Hartenstein with 11. So
And
I mean,
Manuel
quickly
quickly put
20
up a
off the
20.
bench. Yeah, off the bench, which is pretty impressive there. So the Knicks definitely finding their swag. It feels like they're always in that 12 o'clock time slot on Christmas Day, but I guess that's the Garden appeal for
No,
you.
no,
So
I believe don't the Knicks always kick off Christmas at
I think
12?
so. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I think it's just a thing. I think they do most years and not every year. So I mean it's a good team. It's a big market, a lot of fans. But yeah, I mean kind of wish the Nets had more of those, but it's the Knicks. I mean,
Yeah,
I guess it's the Knicks city for a reason. It's that New York MSG thing, but they came to play, and the Bucks. It's interesting seeing how this is going with Dame and Giannis. I'm really liking the pairing. I mean, that they've had a lot of success already. I mean, Giannis at 32, Dame at 32. They're like perfect like pick and roll partners, and then yeah, Middleton
Middleton at
20
24.
24. Yeah, another great scorer on that team, and Brooke Lopez, long time that 14, and then Bobby Portis 12. So this is definitely a team that's gonna make a run at the championship in the Bucks. I mean, they're second behind the Celtics in the East. I was just mentioning that probably going to be two of the top teams in the conference, if not the two top teams. And yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I would want Damian Lillard to be able to win a ring, just as Giannis did, even though Bucks did beat the Nets. But like, I was happy to see that. Like Giannis, he definitely, deserved. He deserved to win a ring, and Dame's like another type of player like that who, is very loyal, and he eventually just came to like a
No,
point where
I,
he
I
couldn't
think his
keep
problem
going.
is he was
So,
too loyal.
he was too loyal. Like everyone faults players for changing teams, and everyone for Dame was just like, like you did enough. Like please go. Play on a good team. Like you
I feel like
sacrificed.
even some Blazers fans were like, please just leave.
Yeah, yeah. It's so funny. It's like we talk about like Kevin Durant. It's just like, oh, like he's a traitor and this and that. And for Dame, it's just like, please leave. Just
No, no, no.
you've done
It
enough. Like,
really,
what I mean?
like I think only Thunder fans still think he's a traitor. Of course, the Warriors fans, like, I mean, some of them probably still have a grudge against KD, even though, like, two championships right there. Nets fans, I mean, like, that was just kind of a mercy kill at that point when he
Yeah,
was
I mean,
traded to Phoenix.
yeah. I forget who even won it out first at this point, but it was a whole mess. But
Well, it was
like, I
Harden
think
that won it
Kyrie
out
did,
first.
honestly. What?
I thought it was
I think
hard.
Kyrie did. You thought it was funny?
No, I thought it was Harden.
Oh, it's hard. Oh, Harden. Yeah. Well, he left before any of them, right? I think, or
I don't know.
I forget. Where
Harden
did
changes
Harden
teams
go? He
every
went to
year.
Philly, and then it was just KD and Kyrie, and then that didn't exactly work out. And then yeah, yeah, yeah. That definitely was
And
Harden
then
way
Kyrie got
before.
traded to Dallas, and
Hmm.
then Kevin Durant got traded to Phoenix, I think.
Yeah.
I
I
think it
bought I
happened
bought
in
my
that
yeah,
order.
it did happen like that. I bought my Kevin Durant jersey at the wrong time, but I was able to catch
Hey, who knows?
the Nets before their
Maybe
decline.
you could
So
sell that for $20 now.
yeah, probably. Anyway, yeah. Well, that's kind of covers the whole, the NBA Christmas Day slate and just some, looks at the standings, looks at who's good, who's not, what's going on all around the league. So, why don't we shift over to some hockey, and then we can, I guess, wrap up with some college football real quick and call it a day. But anything really happened? Obviously they had the day, the weekend off.
Yeah.
Seems like they'll be back in action tomorrow. But how's things been since we last talked
Well,
hockey on SportsVibe?
I would say this. If you were to tell me last year, after after all the drama that went through with the Vancouver Canucks with like, basically holding Bruce Boudreau, their head coach at the time, like, him basically literally crying like in press conferences because he didn't know when he was going to be fired over the course of a month. And then you hire Rick Tocchet, and as of right now, the Vancouver Canucks literally are first atop the standings with 49 points. I would
Hmm.
not believe you at all. But hey, the Vancouver Canucks are they're really blending into something. Quinn Hughes is captain. He's done a phenomenal job. Elias Pettersson, he's been great. Like, and even like, Thatcher Demko, he's quietly one of the best goalies in the league right now. The Vancouver Canucks are certainly making
Yeah.
they're certainly making their mark right now. The New York Rangers, they cooled off a little bit over the past couple of weeks, but they're still pretty damn good.
Hmm.
Uh, the Vegas Golden Knights
Yeah.
and the Boston Bruins, they've been
Mm.
on a losing streak. The Boston
Interesting.
Bruins have been fairly sloppy, and so I'm hoping that this break they would have figured something out because they did not look good over the past few games. And
Mm. Wow.
and the
Yeah.
Dallas Stars, Colorado Avalanche, Winnipeg Jets, each are boasting win streaks and are looking really solid right now. And Winnipeg is probably the most underrated team in the league right now because they are going to be without Kyle Connor for for a little while, but they have been quite effective. And I saw that against the Bruins a couple days ago where they won 5-1. And Connor Hellebuck, he's definitely one of the best goalies in the league. Mark Sheffley, he's a great forward. So Winnipeg, they are definitely a very interesting team. Of course, the LA Kings, they seem to only be able to win on the road, and they're 500 at home, which is um, you know, certainly odd because, you'd think a team would be better at home rather than on the road. But hey, I
Right.
guess whatever gets the job done for the LA
Mm-hmm.
Kings, go
Road
for it.
Warriors.
And let's see, the Maple Leafs and the Panthers, they took a little bit of a step back, but you can never rule out teams in the Atlantic. The Philadelphia Flyers are
Flyers are
have
surprising.
yeah, Tortorella, like, um he's somehow squeezing every bit of talent out of the Flyers. So it's quite interesting to see where they're going. The Tampa Bay Lightning, they've they fell off a little bit even when they got Vasilevsky healthy a few weeks ago. But you know, like I said, I don't rule out anything happening come playoff time. I still think the Lightning have some things to do. I'd say the most disappointing teams right now, like considering what they've done, like considering where they were the past year, the most disappointing teams right now are the Hurricanes, the Devils, and yeah, yeah, I
Hmm.
just put it right there
Interesting. Two of the
because
surprise teams from last year, I guess, in a way. But yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's certainly a bit surprising to see where they are right now because I mean, of course, like we did point out, we did say in like our season preview that the one main area of concern for the Devils was their goaltending because
Mm-hmm.
I mean Vitek Vanacek is solid, but he's not like you know he's not like he's not like a Connor Hellebuck or Igor Shesterkin right now, even though Igor is kind of struggling and Jonathan Quick has been the one that's been like that's been pretty consistent. The Detroit Red Wings, they seem to be allergic to playing good hockey in the month of December. The Montreal Canadiens are yeah, sorry about that. The Montreal Canadiens are somehow like they're actually in the mix to do something pretty good right now. Um,
Yeah.
and
Interesting.
of course,
Hmm.
Edmonton, ever since their dreadful start, they've been attempting to climb back in. Looks like, if they continue at this pace, they might actually be able to sneak into the playoffs. And then, of course, when you have a Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins who've been grinding this entire season to get back into the playoffs and have been playing absolutely red hot out of their minds,
Hmm.
and you have that same core going into the playoffs, that would be quite interesting. And of course, the Buffalo Sabres and Ottawa Senators, teams everyone thought would do better, myself included, are just, to put it lightly, garbage. And that's
Hmm.
about it for hockey
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah. I think that pretty much sums up like the entire league. So, definitely makes for some good content. And yeah, that's how NHL's definitely going. I guess just to wrap it up, I want to get to some college football. You got the playoffs coming up. Yeah, I mean, me and Kapil have loved to talk about this, but it's the final preview, I guess, as the countdown starts to build back on for the college football playoff. Obviously, that's what I really want to talk about. I don't really care about these bowl games that have been going on between, average teams. But I mean, that's been fun. It's a lot of football, but we're starting to get to some of the better games. I mean, you know, um, particular interest to, listeners in this area. Obviously, Rutgers taking on Miami. That's on Thursday. Of course, through WRC is gonna have the coverage. But should be a good game. I mean, Miami's gonna be having their third string quarterback, Ja'Cory Brooks playing. That's their Tyler Van Dyke in the portal going to Wisconsin. I believe their second strings, NJ Rutgers. I think it's gonna be pretty healthy for this game. I think Kalmananga is gonna be playing. Wimsut's gonna be playing. Rutgers defense very good, special teams very good. So quarterback Gavin Wimsett not too great, but that could be a problem. I mean, Xavier Restrepo, the Miami offense, pretty decent. The line, it's a competitive game, and right now I think Rutgers actually has is favored by like 1.5 points, which I think is very interesting. But yeah, I mean it'd be a big step if Rutgers could win the game, get to winning record. They haven't done that in, it's been about I think 9 years since 2014. Hurricanes, big brand from the ACC. They've had a little bit of a disappointing season. Kind of gave a game away to Georgia Tech, but I mean, still, kind of a premier program in that ACC. They played pretty competitively against Florida State, Louisville, some of the top teams in the conference. So certainly going to be a tough matchup for Rutgers, not Rutgers' usual ACC opponent. So it's not going to be easy, but at the same time, it should be a good game, home game atmosphere in the Bronx, and at Yankee Stadium. So yeah, that should be a fun one. Looking forward to it. And then we get to some of the better games. Obviously the Alamo Bowl, Arizona, Oklahoma. The New Year's Six games are going to be very exciting. Obviously, got Missouri taking on Ohio State, which in the Cotton Bowl, that should be a good one. On Devin Brown for Ohio State, very good Missouri team. A lot of opt-outs for the Buckeyes. Had a disappointing finish, losing to Michigan. Peach Bowl, Penn State, Ole Miss, a battle of two teams that are pretty good, but aren't able to beat the top teams in their league. So a good matchup. The winner will definitely have a legitimate win, which I'll be happy to see that. And then you got the Orange Bowl, Georgia, Florida State kind of battle of teams who didn't make the playoff, who arguably deserved to. Florida State going undefeated, winning the conference. Georgia, won the national championship 2 years in a row. They got left out altogether after losing to Alabama. Sometimes that's just the way it is. This is why a 12-team playoff is better. So I'm excited for that next season. And just to wrap it up, Alabama, Michigan, and Texas, Washington. Alabama, Michigan. I mean, Michigan's the number one, Alabama the number four. Michigan actually probably has more experience. They have a better defense, a good running game. Alabama, Jalen Milroe going to be hard to stop. Dual threat quarterback. Alabama has the talent at receiver, at defensive back, on the lines. They have physicality. They bring SEC speed. As a Michigan hater, I'm really looking forward to it. But it should be a good game. I think Michigan's going to give it their best shot. This is probably the best Michigan team we've seen in 3 years, but Alabama just beat Georgia. Another physical SEC team with tons of talent. So, if there's any team that could beat Michigan, it's probably Alabama. But it's gonna be an amazing showdown at the Rose Bowl, beautiful Rose Bowl in Pasadena. And oh man, it's just like it just means so much as a college football fan. That's kind of why I want to have this segment. But the other game, Texas Washington, high profile offenses between the two teams. Michael Penix, you got Quinn Ewers, you got kind of Pac-12 champions. Texas, who's the only team to beat Alabama all season long. So I mean, we got four big brands here for the best teams in the country, for the best defenses, offenses. The Texas Washington, the Sugar Bowl, 8:45. So New Year's Day is just going to be an incredible day of football, and I I can't wait to watch it, and I'm sure we'll have next week we'll break down the college football playoff semifinals. We'll break down the NFL slate, but yeah, I mean, I guess that's going to be it for this episode of Sports Vibe. As always, stay tuned. Be sure to you know keep your eye keep your eye out for future episodes, and enjoy football, enjoy the holidays, and have a good break. So until then, signing off here. For Jitesh Ramakrishnan and myself, Arnav Sarkar. This has been another episode of Sports Vibe, and we will see you next week.